Imagine taking a walk through the woods on a calm evening. A gentle breeze is caressing your hair while the setting sun is painting the horizon red. As you snake your way through the trees, you hear a rustle. It's the sound of the leaves dancing to the tunes of the wind, making an eerie note. You feel like the trees are communicating with you, wanting to tell you their secrets. But you shrug off the thought knowing that trees can't speak. But you should never view trees as lifeless, motionless objects, for behind the veneer of stillness hides a busy network, unmatched in speed and scope by anything we know. The truth is that trees can communicate with each other, and the secret lies in a vast underground network called the Wood Wide Web. The Wood Wide Web is an information superhighway that speeds up interactions between a large, diverse population of individuals. This communication network is not made up of invisible radio waves like our Wi-Fi, but rather relies on a minuscule and dense fungi network to deliver various signals and information. These fungi, using their branching and arm-like membranes, build a communication network called the mycelium that connects individual plants and even the whole ecosystem. The mycelium delivers nutrients, sugar, and water, and in a more complex dynamic with the plants, delivers chemical signals. Mycelium acts as an underground internet and connects the roots of different plants. That tree in your garden is probably attached to a bush a few meters away thanks to its mycelium. In order to fully understand the Wood Wide Web, first the relationship between the plants and fungi will be described. The process of plant communication via fungi occurs through the mycorrhiza. The mycorrhiza is the mutualistic relationship between the fungus and a plant root where soil nutrients are exchanged for plant-derived photosynthate. Mutualisms between the fungal species and host plant enable the formation of mycorrhizal networks, also known as MNs. Communication refers to the transmission of signals, molecules, resources, or sounds between plants via plant mycorrhizal and mycorrhizal networks. This process utilizes the language described as symbiotic-ish, where symbiotic partners meet, and if an agreement is made, the fungus executes the first touch. The partners then engage in a signaling procedure to reach distinct agreements. Take Forrest and Hazel, for instance. Forrest really needs some nitrogen, but he also knows that Hazel needs some carbon. So when they met up, he asked to do the exchange. She agreed, and they used the resource-sharing app called MN, which of course works via the Wood Wide Web. Through MN, they were able to send each other and receive their resources.
This mutualistic relationship is of biological significance between plants is a key for survivability for the species and between individuals. Just like Stacy and Frank in this scenario, and as Jasmine has mentioned, they can exchange materials if one player is running low or never had access to these nutrients. They help each other survive in hard times and encourage their survivability for longer. Another aspect of biological significance in terms of survivability, when it comes to parasites or pests as a reason for health decline, then this network is what helps the plants communicate with each other about these unfortunate circumstances. Just like for Stacy when she got invaded by pests. She was able to forewarn Frank, and he was able to easily prepare his defenses before they come invade him. They help survive more efficiently.
I'll take it on from here, and we're going to talk about the mechanisms of this wonderful network. Plants that are connected by mycorrhizal network have the ability to alter their behavior based on a signal or cues they receive from other plants. These signals can be allochemicals, defensive chemicals, or nutrients. Allochemicals are secondary metabolites produced by plants that can interfere with the growth of other plants. The mechanisms by which infochemicals are used in mycorrhizal networks are still unclear. It has been proposed that nutrients and infochemicals may be transported through cytosol or cell walls using surface adhesion or rhizomorphs that are formed by twinning of several hyphae. In order for allochemicals to have a detrimental effect on target plant, they must exist in high enough concentrations to be toxic, but allochemicals are released in very small amounts. Due to ease of the composition of allochemicals in the environment, their toxicity is reduced, but mycorrhizal networks make their transfer more efficient. These infochemicals are able to transfer faster via mycorrhizal network because the network protects them from hazards of being transferred through the soil, such as leaching and degradation. Also, mycorrhizal networks enhance the transport of allopathic chemicals by expanding the dispersion range. Plants that are attacked by pathogens can emit signaling molecules that can be transmitted to the neighboring plants through mycorrhizal networks. These plants can manifest physical changes such as strengthening their cell walls, or they can manifest biochemical changes including production of volatile organic molecules or VOCs. Priming is a mechanism activated by mycorrhizal networks that activates the nearby tree's defense system before pathogen attack. The mechanism enables nearby trees to enhance their chemical defenses, allowing them to respond more quickly and strongly when an attack occurs. In plants attacked by herbivores, mycorrhizal fungi show compensatory mechanisms. By increasing the speed of photosynthesis and growth in plants, mycorrhizal networks increase the herbivore tolerance, induce plant resistance against herbivores, and alter gene generation and secondary compound composition of plant tissues. There are several mechanisms that nutrients can move between plants that are connected in a mycorrhizal network, some of which including sourcing relationship, preferential transfer, and kin-related mechanisms. Nutrients such as phosphorus, nitrogen, and even water move from one plant to another using sourcing relationships. In this model, nutrients move from areas of higher concentration to the lower concentration. For example, nitrogen moves from nitrogen-fixing plants source to non-hydrogen-fixing plants sink through a mycorrhizal network following a sourcing relationship. In this movement generally occurs passively by mass flow. That is, the plant is not actively pushing or moving nutrients from itself to the recipient. Rather, there is a gradient of high resource area to low resource area, and these are naturally equal out. A common example is the mother tree. They are usually the biggest and oldest trees that are most connected in the fungal network. Young plants can't grow as quickly in the shade of the parent trees, and they can't get enough light, and they have limited abilities in photosynthesis and fixing carbon for themselves. Mother trees can help them out by sharing nutrients, including carbon via fungal mycelia. In preferential transfer model, resources can be distributed unequally, favoring a certain group of individuals, increasing competitive interactions. For example, mycorrhiza can preferentially transfer more nutrients to the plants that provide more carbon than others. In kinship relationship, the relatedness of two plants may affect the uptake or transport of nutrients by changing their root growth and resulting mycorrhizal formation. For example, more carbon has been found to be exchanged between the roots of two closely related Douglas firs sharing a network compared to more distantly related roots.
Previously, I had mentioned that one of the main biological importances for this system is to help survive either by sharing nutrients or warning each other about threats. We can also harness this connectability for our use. These network systems can play an important role in the agricultural industry. When pests arrive onto our crops, pesticides are usually the solution that is used to get rid of them. However, it is known to be hazardous to humans, and also, pests are developing resistances to these pesticides. Instead of pesticides, farmers can use these network systems in order for their plants to have a better chance of survival. Though it is through allosteric relationships, so one crop may be a sacrifice in that it will be infested with pests. But it will allow for the other plants to have a better chance of survival, as they will develop their defenses a lot earlier. And with this alternative route, farmers will have to be aware to reduce their tilling so that they don't disturb the soil nor the networks. Overall, the network helps keep each other alive from outside dangers or limitations. With the increase of survivability as individuals, they are able to maintain diversity in the ecosystems. This diversification is essential for life to continue, as there is an ever-changing climate and environment. So the selfless behavior they have with one another allows them to survive as a whole, and allow for our ecosystems to thrive.